Should you be buying a hybrid Toyota in 2024? Is it the right move for you? Should you be doing hybrid, non-hybrid? What are some of the pros, the cons, the advantages, or the disadvantages to going hybrid or non-hybrid? We're going to talk about all that just ahead in this video. My friends, in this video, I'm going to go over some of the most important facts to consider if you're in the market for a new Toyota vehicle in 2024 that will help you to decide if hybrid is the right option for you. First of all, let's get started with explaining what is a Toyota hybrid powertrain system. How does a Toyota hybrid work? So in this video, particularly, we're talking about the hybrid system. We're not talking about the hybrid electric or the full electric like the BZ4X or the RAV4 Prime, the hybrid electric. We're talking about hybrid vehicles. So hybrid RAV4, Corolla Cross hybrid, we're talking about Highlander hybrid, Sienna hybrid, and so on. So typically the way it works is you have a non-turbocharged four-cylinder engine, for the most part, underneath the hood, combined with an electric motor and a high voltage hybrid battery, as well as a low voltage 12 volt non-hybrid battery, which is used to power up a lot of your electronics inside the vehicle. Your hybrid high voltage battery is used to allow your electric motor to work. Throughout most of your driving, you will use a combination of your hybrid electric system and your combustion engine system, depending on where you're driving, how you're accelerating, the speed that you're going, etc. Now, we get asked this question all the time, and that is, do you need to charge your hybrid Toyota RAV4, Highlander, Corolla, Camry, whatnot? No, the hybrid system does not work like an electric system or a hybrid electric system like the RAV4 Primes. There's no manual charging involved. Charging does take place, but it is through regenerative braking. So as you're braking and slowing down with your hybrid Toyota, it is sending power back to the battery and in turn charging your high voltage battery so that it can continue to work for you and use your electric motor when it's needed. Okay, if the bulk of your driving is usually at high speeds, for example, if you're mainly a highway driver for most of your driving, then you may want to reconsider getting a hybrid Toyota for the reason of fuel efficiency. And that is the case because Toyota hybrid vehicles and most hybrid vehicles can get to the point where they're actually not as efficient at constant higher speeds. As a matter of fact, if you're constantly using and driving your Toyota hybrid vehicle at high speeds all the time, for example, if you're doing mainly highway driving all the time, you run the risk of potentially putting some extra strain on your hybrid system. This could potentially create some increased maintenance cost or issues down the road. And that's simply because these Toyota hybrid systems just aren't meant and designed to be driven at high speeds so often and so frequently. Another point to consider on if buying a 2024 Toyota hybrid is the right move for you is with regards to letting the vehicle sit. All right, so what do I mean by that, letting the vehicle sit? So if you're buying a hybrid Toyota for occasional use, so perhaps you have a vehicle Monday to Friday and you're going to use your hybrid Toyota only on Saturday or Sundays, or just on Sundays, or if you're buying a hybrid Toyota for, let's say, your cottage home or your vacation property, and it's something you're going to use only a couple of months throughout the year, buying a hybrid Toyota in 2024 or in any time for that matter, for those reasons, may not be the best option. Now, why is that? Well, yes, Toyota has the most sophisticated and reliable hybrid system on the planet and in the market. These super high voltage batteries are very well designed, but keep in mind, they are still batteries. So having them sit doesn't do all that good to that battery and that high voltage system. One more thing you're going to want to consider on if buying a hybrid Toyota is the right move for you in 2024 is the wait times. There are typically longer wait times on a hybrid Toyota versus a non-hybrid Toyota simply because the demand is through the roof right now. So it's sometimes a challenge to keep up with all those orders and demands in a timely manner, and you might have to find yourself waiting longer for a hybrid Toyota. For example, if you're looking for a non-hybrid Toyota RAV4 or Camry, or if you're looking for a non-hybrid Toyota Highlander, you can probably find one within a couple of months at that. Maybe even sometimes you can find them in stock depending on where you're located. However, the hybrid alternative is usually available on a factory order basis, which typically takes a minimum of about 6 months, sometimes north of 12 months and onwards, depending on the model, trim, etc. So buying a hybrid Toyota can definitely make sense for you in 2024. Just be prepared to expect some type of lead time or wait time before you get the vehicle. If you're in a rush for a vehicle or you need something relatively quickly, then probably the hybrid Toyota is not the right choice for you. You're going to want to consider the non-hybrid option. If you're worried about reliability, you don't really have to worry much when it comes to Toyota in general, but I'll have you know that there are quite a few components on the non-hybrid Toyotas that actually don't exist on the hybrids. So for example, the non-hybrid Toyotas do have alternators, they do have starters, and there are some other components to try to keep with regulations to make these non-hybrid powertrain systems as efficient as possible. A lot of these components that I'm mentioning are wear and tear items, and you simply don't have them and don't need them on the hybrid Toyotas. Also, we're seeing a lot of manufacturers, including Toyota, shy away from the V8 engines, shy away from even the V6 engines, which usually means that you're getting a turbocharger under the hood. For the most part, our hybrid powertrain systems generally do not have a turbo underneath the hood. It is combined with usually a 2.5 liter or just a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. So that generally is one more part or one more item that you would have under the hood of the non-hybrid that you wouldn't have under the hood of the hybrid. Now, our later generation and later model Toyota hybrids now come with a fan filter that is to help keep from any blockage, help keep the air system and the cooling system working properly, which generally is the reason why a high voltage hybrid battery might fail if it becomes overheated or stressed. And keeping the air fan filter clean and clear from any obstructions is one of the ways you can make sure that your hybrid Toyota will last a very long time. That's right. So one thing to mention and take note in terms of maintenance costs, in terms of reliability, in terms of overall routine scheduling, the maintenance is pretty identical in terms of routine maintenance when it comes to hybrid versus non-hybrid for Toyota. The only thing you want to keep in mind is there are two types of cooling systems for the hybrid, one for the powertrain, one for the hybrid system. And when you're talking about the non-hybrid, there's only that one cooling system for underneath the hood, the combustion engine and powertrain and so on. So in terms of reliability and overall complications, I would say that the hybrid Toyotas pretty much surpassed the non-hybrid Toyotas when it comes to that. We've been doing this for a long time, as I previously mentioned, over 20 years. So we've had already lots of time for trial and error. Another point you're going to want to keep in mind if buying a hybrid Toyota is the right answer for you is if you're in constant extreme cold weather conditions. Now, not to say that there's anything wrong with still buying a Toyota hybrid if you're living in an extremely cold area or place or keeping the vehicle always in the cold. That's fine. Just don't expect to get the best fuel economy out of that Toyota hybrid. There is a chemical reaction that takes place in the Toyota hybrid system and batteries and so on, and that reaction takes a bit longer to actually happen, and it gets slowed down a bit in these drastic colder temperatures. So for example, here in Canada, sometimes in the winter, it'll reach -10, -20, -15 degrees, whereas in the summer, you'll be at +20, +30 degrees. And you'll notice if you're driving a hybrid Toyota, your gas mileage, your fuel economy is better in the summer versus the winter, exactly to my point. Plain and simple, if you're looking for a fuel efficient, reliable vehicle, reliable Toyota, of course, then you're gonna wanna consider the hybrids. Now, there's still no problem going with the hybrid option if you simply just want a hybrid Toyota and wanna try a hybrid Toyota. You've never had one before, regardless if you're always driving at high speeds for 99% of your driving, if you're in extreme cold conditions, if you let the vehicle sit for months, weeks at a time, you can still go for a hybrid. It's just you want to keep these factors top of mind when it comes to decision-making time. I hope you guys enjoyed this review and this discussion on if buying a hybrid Toyota is right for you. We'll catch you in the next video, guys. Take care.